couple of weeks of our live streams. We're going to hopefully continue again. We're using a new bit of software today, so hopefully we don't run into too many issues. It's going to be a relatively short one today. We're going to be mostly going over our various species of new Caledonian geckos. Just kind of going over basic care requirements and setups. In the shop, they're one of the most popular species that we sell. The main ones being our crested geckos, which everyone knows. And this cool little guy here is one of our breeding group. And the Caledonian geckos over here. They're a very simple species to keep. They mainly insects, but they do also eat fruit. Generally for the fruit portion of the diet, we give them like a grub and fruit or a fruit rapashi. Sort of like a mix that you can see some hair that we've got in the bottom. Just there. And it's just kind of like a fruit gel that the geckos will eat. As for live food, we're mainly feeding things like crickets and locusts. You can obviously feed them things like worms, but that's more of a treat due to the high fat content in them. As for setup, they're relatively simple. If you caught our bioactive live stream the other week, any bioactive setup you have, like one up here, would be perfect for one. You can see there's some of our babies in here, but I don't know if we'll see any, because they do quite like to hide. All the babies we do have here were bred ourselves. So basically a general bioactive setup with the drainage layer, a mesh, then a planting substrate like bio-life forest, and then just decorations like plants and bits of decor like wood go perfectly. For a species like this, we do provide them with UVB. We generally use a fairly low one, but you do want to provide them with some UVB as they will benefit quite a lot from it. We also have, there are other species that you do quite commonly find in the pet trade. One of them we have here in our new display tank. I don't know how easy it will be to get some footage of him. Right at the back of the enclosure. Got our mossy gecko in here. Generally not quite as handleable as the gargoyle or the crested geckos. They can be a little bit more frighty. But you can tame them down really well, and they do make perfect pets. They get to a similar size as the crested geckos and gargoyle geckos with extremely similar care requirements. The other option, which we unfortunately don't have any in, is the New Caledonian giant gecko. It's the biggest species of gecko in the world. You may have seen them in some of our previous videos or pictures on our social media platforms. They're a great species, quite similar honestly to gargoyle geckos in terms of temperament. They like to lounge about a lot. You won't really see them doing a lot unless they're going out for a bit of hunting. They obviously will require a slightly larger tank, so an enclosure like this, which is a 45 by 45 by 60 centimetre enclosure, is perfect for things like gargoyle geckos or crested geckos. But for something like a giant New Caledonian gecko, you're looking at more of an enclosure like this, which is 90 centimetres tall, 45 wide and 45 centimetres deep. So you can see here is a bit of an example setup of something you can do. This one isn't bioactive, so we've just got some bag chips at the bottom. You can also use other substrates like the cocoa bricks. They work really well. We always provide a water bowl. You may not see them drinking from it an awful lot because we do spray the enclosure, so they will get most of their water from the spray. But you will see them occasionally go down for a bit of water, so we like to provide it just in case. So yeah, all in all, they're a very easy species to keep. The enclosures are relatively inexpensive to set up, and the animals, generally, unless you're going for something a bit more exotic like the mossy gecko or the giant New Caledonian gecko, it is generally quite cheap for the geckos. You can see here we have them listed, $89.99. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week hopefully with a bit of a longer video once we've tested this new software, but make sure we know what we're doing with it. Okay, bye.